and more evidence, some of it being released today, showing how the lockdown stopped so many people from earning a living. Students have also had fees and other repayments hanging over their heads. So is crowdfunding an option? How safe are the various platforms? Leana de Beer is the CEO of Feenix. She joins us now to unpack this. Leana, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time today. I mean, when we talk about crowdfunding, what we're really talking about is asking strangers for money. We're relying on the kindness of strangers. Is it safe to do that?
Safe, yes, absolutely. South Africa is a nation of givers. In 2018, about 80% of South Africans gave to a charity or an NGO, either in a cash payment or on a voluntary basis. So we're absolutely a nation that comes together as communities and support and help each other. And I think what crowdfunding is doing is formalizing that even more. And as we move into the fourth industrial revolution and digital technology is increasing, it's just a way to make that giving easier and doing it online and reaching a bigger group of audience.
How does it actually work? I mean, you go onto a crowdfunding website, right? There are different platforms. How do those platforms work?
So there's different kinds of crowdfunding, and it was an international invention that came to South Africa, and it is definitely on the up and rise in South Africa and across Africa. But crowdfunding, the concept is very similar to a stokvel. It's about getting a big group of people to give small amounts each, and that small amounts eventually becomes quite a large sum of money. What crowdfunding does is it's just doing that online. So it's making the giving more technologically driven, and it's making it more transparent, and it's making it easier to track that funding and also to know where that funding is going. So in South Africa, we've got equity crowdfunding platforms, and then we've got donations-based crowdfunding platforms, of which Feenix is a donations-based crowdfunding platform.
Are you finding people are still donating during the pandemic? And I ask this because so many people, I think everybody is feeling poorer than they did. So as a result of that, are they really still able to give?
I think that's a very important and very big question to ask. What we are seeing is an increase of registrations and also giving on the platform. Our platform has increased about 155% more donations during this period than pre-COVID, about 200% increase in registrations. And that just isn't just for Feenix. Some of the other crowdfunding platforms in South Africa has also seen an increase, and as well globally. I think people are stuck at home, people are online, and people really want to get involved and do something, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. This is a very safe and easy way to support maybe a charity or support a movement, make sure people are fed, make sure people on the front lines of the medical industry are getting support. So I think that is the thing that makes crowdfunding work really well, and we are seeing an increase during COVID-19. But of course, we don't know what the long-term effects will be of the economy, and I do think people are getting slightly fatigued. I do think everyone's purse is heavier, because it's stretched thinly. So I do think we'll have to wait and see whether people can give as much as they used to give. But I know that South Africans are very resilient, and we always come together during a time of crisis.
And to stop, sort of the safety the other way, in other words, someone going on a crowdfunding site and claiming to be hungry when actually they're not, do the sites sort of do any kind of investigation to stop that from happening? We do, I'm afraid, live in a cynical country.
Yeah, I think it's, again, different for each crowdfunding site. But what we do at Feenix, we are a public benefit organization, and we are governed by a trust. And we make sure that every cent is accounted for. So we pay the funding over to institutions. It doesn't go over to a student. So our funding would go directly to the university. We make sure that that student is gone through the process, the due diligence process, that they need the funding. We do household income checks on our students. And then for our current campaign, which is trying to fundraise digital devices for students to continue to study, we use FundSkype as a partner to distribute that funding to the student after we've checked that that student is registered with university, they fall within the bracket of the household income check, and in need of the device. Each crowdfunding site is different, and each one has their own way of making sure that the money goes where it's intended. On our side, we take that very seriously, and we get audited every year, and we make our annual financial statements and reports free to the public to make sure that people are comfortable their money goes where it's intended.
And what are people actually asking you for? What are they asking for donations for? You've mentioned devices and help with their fees already.
Yeah, so we in the tertiary education space, we are a specialized education crowdfunding platform. There's lots of other crowdfunding platforms out there that you can do anything from raising funds for medical bills to, the petrol attendant story we saw last year that went viral. That was a crowdfunding campaign. But at Feenix, we help tertiary students. We help them with their funding for their tertiary education. And at this point in time during COVID, we're trying to help students with food vouchers. We help them with data so that they can stay connected. And then we actually help them with computers because a lot of students don't have computers to continue their studies from home or remotely. And that's the kind of things that we're focusing on to help students to continue and so that they don't fall out now in the middle of the year and have to do the entire academic year all over again, which will be really unfortunate because it's very expensive for many, many students.